Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on the search for one of the best burgers in New York City, and I'm going to try a second one after going to one called in the West Village called Smashed. Smashed blew me away yesterday, and I'm trying to find the best burgers that are not restaurants, that are like casual fast food that you can really enjoy quickly while exploring New York City. Because I think part of the American experience, if you're traveling from a part that is not America, is having a good burger. So I'm right now in Chinatown at a place called Burger by Day, and I'm also having one of my favorite bubble teas, which is called iMilky, and I'm so excited to have this. This is a passion fruit green tea, and right here is Burger by Day. And ooh, look at this juicy burger. So we're gonna eat this, and then after that I'm going to walk around and show you the sights of Chinatown, Dime Square, and a neighborhood nearby called Two Bridges. So let me know where you're watching from. Let's try this bubble tea. Oh my god. Passion fruit, so good. Nice amount of passion fruit seeds that just have that kick of sweetness. The boba as well. Oh, this is really good. I'm super hyped to have this. Let me know where you're watching from. Alright, let's have a good burger without further ado. Hello Daniel, hello Shauna, welcome to the live stream. Made on a potato bun. We have 2 beef patties smashed. This is what's called a smash burger. That means it's literally smashed on the grill. And then we have some cheese, onions, lettuce and tomato. I got the classic one. Cost me nearly $9, $9.20 something. Oh, that's good. Oh, really good. Smash burgers are now my new favorite way to have a burger. This is where you get the really quintessential burger taste. Sometimes with these like bigger, thicker burgers in America, could be hit or miss. Sometimes they don't use the best meat, sometimes they're overcooked, so you end up having a burger that kind of, sometimes it might be a bit too juicy and everything just falls apart and the bread just disintegrates. I hate when that happens. Or they use a brioche bread that's a bit old, so it's a bit kind of, it's not the best bread, but potato bun with smash burgers, this is the way to truly enjoy a good burger. Look at that. Wow. Just marvelous. Hello Sebastian, hello Shauna, hello Mika, welcome. Shredded lettuce, yes, a common staple when it comes to a good American hamburger. Wow. Hello Daniel, hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. So yeah, this is a pretty damn good burger. I do recommend it. It's a nice choice over here when you're exploring Chinatown if you don't want to have Chinese food. Marie says, wait, this is in PR? No, I'm back in good old New York City. PR, I left right before the hurricane started hitting. By the time I reached Puerto Rico, it really wasn't a hurricane. It was still just a tropical storm. It drenched the entire north with tons of rain. I hope everyone's safe. Generally did not do too much damage, but did cancel off flights. And my initial flight was canceled, which was in the afternoon at 6 p.m. So we had to switch flights last minute in order to get back to New York City safely. And Rami says, I make you have whatever you end up craving whatever I'm eating. Rami, that's awesome to hear. Here's a passion fruit green iced tea. Hello, Sandy. Nice to see you here. Shauna says I'm starving. I mean, after seeing a burger like this, of course you are. Let me show you the menu before I start around. Ben says you gotta try Handcraft Burgers and Brew on 40th Street. Hey, yeah, thank you so much for the recommendation. Let us know what's your favorite burgers. Right here, I got the number one, the BBD Smash, $8.95. The taxes are about 9 something. And then they also have crispy fries, tater tot, sweet potato fries, ooh, truffle fries, popcorn chicken. We got some shakes and we got some drinks as well. It's all great. Adam says how I'm doing. Adam, doing very well. Daryl, it's your 54th birthday. Hey man, happy birthday. Hope you're doing well. That was amazing. Oh, it does live up to the title, the best burger in New York City. Right now, it's my number 2. I've tried so far 2 smash burgers. Yesterday, I tried Smashed in the West Village. Blew me away. That's still number 1. I will continue updating you as I try more of these smash burgers in New York City. But right now, this is Burger by Day, located in Chinatown between Grand Street and Christie Street. And inside there was also a great bubble tea place. In my opinion, the best in New York City is called iMilky. Really, really great bubble tea. So let me know if you want to see more smash burgers in New York City, either through my Instagram stories or on live video, or a combination of both. If you're curious, I'll try a few more and I'll make an official ranking. Fast food, it can't be a sit-down restaurant. It has to be fast food, counter service, and within New York City. Susie says, I couldn't eat with that loud music though. Yeah, the music was pretty loud. Yeah. You know, I've never been a fan of eating with loud music. I like eating in silence, with a little bit of Gregorian chants playing. But yeah, over here they're always playing like reggaeton and pop and things like that. Tamara says, looks nice to be home. It does feel nice to be home, yeah. here in Grand New York City. Sorry, my mouth is full with a bunch of boba right now. Susie says it's my pet peeve. Marie says, any bao bun places around? There are. My favorite one closed a long time ago, so I actually don't know where, off the top of my head, where to find the bao bun. But you will find them. All you have to do is search on Google bao buns. If anyone has a recommendation, do let us know. Haven't had one in a while. Marit, watching from Norway. Hey, Marie. Hello, Daniel. Tamara says, where are we heading? We're going to check out two neighborhoods. Right now, we're in Chinatown. Chinatown used to encompass a greater, larger area of New York, but now there's micro neighborhoods in what used to be Chinatown / the Lower East Side. And that is Dime Square, which we're about to see. And then the other one is Two Bridges. Nick Sellers tuning in says last time we saw you live was Central Park in the snow. Nick, that might have been 7 years ago, Nick. Wow. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I think the last time I covered Central Park in the snow was 4 years ago. It was quite a while back. Here's the Granddaddy Cafe, one of the better cafes here in Chinatown. Tamara says, I miss the markets on the street. Nothing here in Michigan. Yeah. The U.S. is lacking a lot in street life in many parts. And it's a bit of a shame. It's nice to be here in New York where there's still a lot of street life. Here in Chinatown, many other parts of the city. You can walk around, do shopping, people watch, window shop, whatever you want. Hop around. The city allows for a lot of spontaneity, and I think that's why I love cities, especially walkable ones, because the walkable cities provide the sense of, ooh, I can do this and I could do that without always needing to plan or worry about the logistics of driving and parking, which is more time consuming and it is more tedious. Sandy says, I love these live walks. And it's very evident. You watch any of my live videos walking around in a whole host of cities across North America and Europe, you'll end up seeing there's so much spontaneity in my live videos and with many other live streamers who cover cities. If you compare it to some of my dear live streamers who've done car journeys, there's less spontaneity. You can be the most spontaneous person, but if you're relegated to spending time in a car, there's less spontaneity, or at least it's more time consuming. The spontaneity is spread out via hours as opposed to 1 or 2 hours. Alan says the streets look dirty. It's because they are. Alan, they are indeed dirty. Not as clean as
Helicopter my mom up to Albany to eat breakfast with his daughter.
not as clean as European cities. Pythagorean says every time you're live, I've walked up to the studio with a Freddo. You're either doing that too many lives, or I'm having way too many Freddos. Indeed. I'm glad you're always grabbing your Freddo espresso. Freddo is slowly getting more popular here in New York. I swear by it, Freddo will take over America at some point. It hasn't yet. It's been a slow journey, but we'll get up there. Susie says, random guy yelling on the bike. Yep. All right. So Dime Square is this way. We will make our way up there, but we're going to take a small detour. And now this pedestrianized street in Lower East Side. So here neighborhoods get a little bit fluid. You know, New York City, the neighborhoods are not as strict as some other cities around the world. And here, while some people might call it Chinatown, other people might call it Lower East Side, and so on and so forth. Neighborhoods here are always changing, and sometimes it's a few streets or it's just one street that makes all the difference. And right now we are what most people would call Lower East Side, because it is the Lower East Side. Oh wow. Look at this skin contact wine bar. This is so cool. I love skin contact wine, also known as orange wine. And there's a wine bar completely dedicated to it. And I love the seating now that they're outside these places. And this is an Austrian bar, Cafe Katya. And look, they have a bunch of seating now outside too. This is an awesome pedestrianized street. This street has always been vibrant, but cars used to pass through it. But now they blocked it off from cars, at least today. I'm not sure when they're doing it exactly. But the vibe is already changing. This is amazing. Marie says, do they abbreviate LES? Yes, they do. LES, Lower East Side. Many people would say we're in the LES. Dudley's, great Australian brunch place. Right in front, another great Australian, not Australian, another great brunch place called Sunday to Sunday. Katya says, I've been wanting to go to that bar. Hey, your namesake, Katya, that's so cool. Wow, they've really blocked off a lot of the streets here in Lower East Side. Look at that. ABX Girl says, what's for dinner? ABX Girl, you just saw it. It's in the beginning of this live stream. There was a smash burger. I'm on the journey to find the best smash burgers in New York City. So far tried 2 and extremely impressed thus far. So it's either uphill or downhill from now when it comes to these smash burgers. Who knows if I can find something better than the 2 I've tried so far. Gwen says, my parents grew up in the LES. Ooh, that's so cool. So right here, we're seeing the Tenement Museum. Tenement Museum is awesome. Highly, highly recommend visiting the moment you can. It is an awesome museum that you can go back in time to the 1800s and see how the Jewish Americans, Italian Americans, and other Americans lived. Also Puerto Rican Americans lived. Right across the street is Moscot. Moscot is a very famous glasses brand, and they started also here in the LES. We are probably very close to their original location. If not, this is the original. Don't know 100% sure. Kat says, when did you get back to New York? 2 days ago. I left the morning right before the tropical storm swarmed Puerto Rico and drenched it in rain. I escaped. I had to change my flight. I unfortunately had to spend quite a bit of money to get a new flight with a different airliner. But the original airliner I was flying with did provide a refund, which was nice, Delta. I had to fly via JetBlue. Susie says, Moscot, so expensive. Yes, Moscot, unfortunately, is way too expensive. I prefer Warby Parker. Right across the street we have, I'm going not to walk this direction. I'll show you Times Square. But before we do, we have Cohen's Fashion Optical. If you grew up in the US, if you grew up in the New York area, you probably are familiar with Cohen's. Cohen's, for some point in the 90s and early 2000s, was in many parts of the US. It has kind of lessened since then, but the original one is here. That's the original Cohen's. Gwen says, I'm so sorry to hear about Puerto Rico. Yeah, well, it's a fact of life for the islands. It sucks, but it is something that happens often. That's why we have hurricane season. Unfortunately, my plans were, the last day of my Puerto Rico trip was exactly the day the hurricane was going to hit. So it was inconvenient. I had to switch plans last minute. But I hope everyone's safe. And Puerto Rico's infrastructure hopefully continues to improve. It has had its ups and downs in the past decade or so. Love, 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 love. Indeed. All right, we're backtracking because I'm gonna show you Dime Square. So what street are we on right now? This is Orchid and Broome. One of the better intersections in Lower East Side. Lots of things to do. Lots of eateries here. And coffee shops as well. This is a great Thai place, sticky rice. Marie says, you do look more at home in New York. I do, as opposed to where, Maurice? Let me know. You know, Puerto Rico, it's my home country. It's where I've spent a huge part of my life in. But it is a bit of a struggle to hang out in Puerto Rico for too long because it is very dominated by the car. And I've never been a fan of driving around, nor of suburbia. So when I'm here in a walkable city, I do feel at home. There's been many other places that I felt very at home. Munich, Athens, Paris, London, Manchester, many other places. Are you between Chinatown and Lower East Side? Yeah, Chinatown's just over here. Here's where the borders get tricky. We're gonna go one block down and the borders start getting a bit trickier. Hey, sorry, I can't read your name. Do let me know how to pronounce it. I can't recognize the lettering. Maybe it's Thai. What's the name of the museum that I just mentioned? The Tenement Museum. Tenement. Tenement means apartment building. It's an American term for apartment building. But it usually denotes a lower cost apartment building. Doreen says, very confusing downtown. Downtown is not too terribly confusing. The borders just down here get a little bit tricky. It's not too terribly confusing. Nelson, nice to see you here, man. How are you doing? Nelson with the Puerto Rican flag. Maureen says, welcome home. Janice says, thank you so much for the Germany postcard. My pleasure, Janice. Mega Urbanists that contribute $20 or more on patreon.com/urbanist or on YouTube memberships do receive postcards many times a year, especially when I'm traveling. Thanks, it's a Ruchita. Ooh, Ruchita, nice, pretty name. Here's White. I heard great things about this clothing store. I gotta come back here. Wow, that's a nice shirt. Note to self, come back here. All right, I got another coffee recommendation. This will make a cameo in my upcoming coffee documentary. And yes, it's coming out. It's been a long time waiting. I filmed it back in January. Been filming some extra scenes the past few months. And this makes a cameo. Gather. It's a female-run coffee shop from a Lower East Side native, someone who's been here their entire life. Their family has been here for multiple generations. And here it is amazing coffee and brunch. Highly, highly recommend it. Gather. Now, one thing when it comes to New York City is getting very expensive very quickly. Eating out can really, really put a dent in your wallet, unfortunately. I'm sad to say, because I'm a fan of eating out. In Europe, many European countries, no big deal. Paris, Rome, Germany, Greece, eating out is the same price as going anywhere else casual. But that's not the case here in New York. So if you want to save money for breakfast or lunch, go to the coffee shops that have food. You don't have to spend a huge tip, which here the norm is 20%. So the prices can seem okay, but once you add that tip, it's going to be really big. But if you go to these places, it's counter service. You don't need to pay tip, and the prices will be much more manageable. So go to coffee shops with brunch menus. Some of them have like sandwiches, and some of them even have burgers. And there you can have really, really good food. That's why I'm on the search for the better burgers in New York City. There are fast food, because I even find myself here really kind of struggling trying to eat out. It's just obscenely expensive. So I'm trying to find you the best recommendations I can for cheap eats, because ain't no one want to spend $40 on a pasta. Sweet pickle books. Look at this. What is this? Yes, we really sell pickles. Yes, they're really good. 2 pounds for $12. Ebrin, nice to see you here. Any chance you will visit us in Toronto again? I was really surprised by Toronto, and it's so close and not too expensive that, yeah, I might visit again at some point, for sure. And combine it with like Quebec City or something like that. Lorraine says, oh, fortunately also in Melbourne, Australia, restaurants are selling $40 pastas. Such a shame that's happening. Yeah, it's happening in certain places in the world. It really does suck. I like the architecture in this part, says Maurice. Yes, it's beautiful. What New York City needs is the Greg's, the bakers on every corner. Yeah, we really don't have that type of fast food here that is somewhat serviceable quality, like the UK has or Japan has with 7-Eleven. I wish we did. So someone asked about coffee documentary. The coffee documentary is going to be one episode, just 70 minutes long, but it's really action-packed, and I gotta tell you, if you do not care about coffee and you do not care about New York City coffee, you're going to have a blast. I'm really proud of what we made, and it has come out so good that as I was watching the final cut, I thought to myself, wow, we made coffee a relatable subject to anyone from anywhere out there. So I can't wait to show it to you guys. The premiere date is going to be either September 1st or September 2nd. Stay tuned for exact details. There'll be a live premiere on YouTube and it'll be posted on Facebook afterwards. Susie says, I'm starting to see hip people. We must be in Times Square. Yep, we are approaching Times Square. Pythagorean says, oh, I care about coffee. Well, if you care about coffee, you would love the documentary even more. Gelato review. This is a great gelato. Pedrina Gelato. Awesome gelato. Highly recommend them. They have really unique flavors. Tried them the other day and they were amazing. Marie says, coffee's my spirit animal. That's amazing. Everett says, great to have you here. Ariel. Here's one of the more beautiful buildings in the Lower East Side. This was a bank building originally. Unfortunately, it was built right at the height of the Great Depression. The economy collapsed and the guy also was bankrupt. The building was in rough shape for many decades until a hotel bought it out because the hotel saw the power of Times Square. But what is Times Square? Well, we're entering it right now. It's a little new micro neighborhood in what some people would call the Lower East Side, other people would have called Chinatown. The reason it was Chinatown was because the Chinese population did live here. A lot of them started moving here after 1965 when the doors to Chinese immigration opened up. Many of the Chinese that started moving into Manhattan were not the same Chinese from before. Before, Chinese who immigrated to America were Cantonese. Mostly men, mostly spoke Cantonese, had Cantonese customs, had Cantonese cuisine. But that all changed in 1965 when the floodgates from Chinese immigration opened back to the US. And instead of Cantonese, a lot of Mandarin Chinese started moving in, specifically from the Fujian province. And they didn't meld well. There were two different people. You know, China is a very multicultural society, despite from the outside point of view, it's seeming to look like all Chinese to us. It's actually a composite of many different cultures. It's more diverse than what you would notice with a large portion of America. It's like more looking at Europe. So Chinese and Mandarin and Cantonese were very, very different cultures. So they didn't actually mix. So the Cantonese Chinatown was where we started. That's where the Cantonese Chinese still lived. By that time, already Chinese Americans, still Chinese Americans to this day. The Mandarin Chinese in the 1960s and 70s started moving here in this area and setting up a new Fujian Chinatown. So for a long time, this was also a Chinatown. But now it has gentrified with the likes of a hotel and also many of these cafes, and they've closed it up for pedestrian access, which is amazing. It's awesome that there is no vehicle access here. It's all pedestrianized. So it is feeling a lot like Europe. But where does the name Dimes come from? It is indeed a play on words on Times Square, but it's also a square, kind of makes a makeshift square because it's blocked off from car access. But aside from that, it's also based on the name of a cafe down there called Dimes, which we'll pass by. Now this I love. Outdoor dining in a public square. Barely cars. A few of them are trying to crack through, but barely cars. Some of these bars you don't need to speak with a hostess. You can just sit down, which is very Parisian style, and I love. I have a recommendation for all of you right over here. Sandy says it's very quaint. Evan says that's why I thought a play on Times Square. Yep, it's a play on Times Square, and also there's a cafe named Dimes here. So this is the Metrograph Theater. One of the best theaters to catch old cinema, old movies. Highly, highly recommend coming in here. They also have a great restaurant on the second floor. It's a really, really beautiful little theater. It's built right in front of what used to be another theater. I don't know the name of what this historic theater used to be at. Wendy says, do you know the restaurant La Trucy? I've heard of it. I passed by it yesterday. I've never been. Wendy, why do you ask? Have you heard good things? Let me know. This one's called Le Dive. Oh, I like that. Le Dive. Look how amazing this is. This is just legit. As we say in America, legit. This is the bar where you don't need to speak to a host. You could just sit in any seat. Oh, how lovely. This is called Clandestino. Highly recommend this bar. Nothing special, just the fact that you can sit down. Don't need to go walk up to a host. That's one of the things I really loved in many parts of Europe, Paris, France in general, and also Greece. You don't need to talk to a host. Seats are outside. It's very ample seating. You could just sit anywhere without really trying to ask the host, all right, table for 2, table for 4, and they'll be like, okay, 15 minutes. You see empty chairs and they'll be like, oh, it's like an hour wait. That's a normal fact of dining out in New York. And I like the Parisian style better. So it's nice to see it being adopted here in New York City. Didn't know this was called Times Square. It is, yeah. Now this could be a beautiful public square. They should I would just take out the cars here, pave it over, and make some nice pavement, you know, none of this type of New York City typical sidewalk pavement. I would put some nice pavement, some limestone. I'm not sure what the best material would be. And I'll put like a public fountain in the middle. That would be what should be done over here. Looks like a fun and easy time. Yeah, it's a great place to hang out, especially later at night and especially during the weekends. I'm going to give all of you a Greek food recommendation here as well. And look at this gorgeous building. Kat says music. Yeah, I started the live stream with music, so I'm not muting for this live stream. So let me know, do you it's better with cars or no cars? I posted a short video expressing my joy at seeing a makeshift public square with no cars, and people went ballistic. They said it was horrible, they said it was terrible for traffic, that the city was dying, that this is noisy and bad for the neighborhood, and I don't know how to respond. I thought people would like a public square, and I post this on Instagram and TikTok, and I just get the most horrid comments. And it made me realize that people don't know what they're missing. People are so ingrained in car society and suburban life that they really don't know the value of being able to sit down in a restaurant outside in the view of the public eye. And people think it's noisier. It isn't. Cars are noisier. You go on a car street, it's way noisier than the people street. Sure, unless if there's loud music playing. And then also pollution, way more pollution in a car street. Public square or cities with mostly pedestrian areas, way less pollution. And then beyond that, is it more pleasant to be around? Yes, it's more pleasant to be around. It is good to walk. And if you need handicap accessibility, luckily there's major roads right next to here. So it's not really that, it's really a good thing for society. Right here, the nearest subway station is the East Broadway line on the F train. Marie says, I like car-free streets as well. Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Pythagorean says, Ariel has said Athens in Greece 14 times. Oh wow, you're counting. People have gotten spoiled and lazy. Yes, humans need this as a part of urban design. Doreen says, you grew up in Queens, on Long Island, everyone drives. Indeed, everyone drives. I think that's my point, is that people have gotten so used to just driving that they don't know what they're missing. They think driving should be the only way. But the moment you start really spending time in cities, you end up seeing the light, in essence, to a pedestrianized city. Because if you're stuck in a car all the time, you think, oh, this is way convenient, I can get to where I want to, this is easier, I can just park, I can just walk up to the Applebee's or to the Cheesecake Factory, I could just take my car, go to the movies afterwards, maybe go to the mall. And then there we go, I'm spending my time and I can take a nice drive over to the seaside. And that's beautiful. And people associate a city to be dirty, crowded, noisy, rude people, and no access to any nature. And that is completely bollocks. In the better cities of Europe, it is way less polluted, way less noisier, way more friendlier, and there's also access to nature via public transportation, where everyone has access to nature. High income, low income, anything in between. Need for accessibility or no need for accessibility, or anything in between. In places like the Netherlands or in Italy, you have quick access, or in Athens, you have quick access to the seaside, or to the mountainside, or to the forests, all by public transportation. That is a true beauty of a pedestrianized city. So here, there's no reason why New York cannot improve its public transportation infrastructure so you can take a quick train over to the seaside of New Jersey, or to Jones Beach in Long Island, or to the north of Long Island and go to the little bit hillier parts. This is one of the better bars I recommend. Casino, great bar, great wine selection. Wow, gorgeous building. Look at this. This is called the Ford Building. Beautiful. Seems to be private residences now. Everett says, I love anywhere I go, I need to walk or hike. Yes. Helen says, I'm with you 100%. Wendy says, he is by Columbia University. Wendy, I am right now in the opposite side. I'm further down in Manhattan. Very far away from Columbia. It's about the journey, not the destination, says Ebrin. Yes. So car-centered cities make everything about the destination. You get to the Applebee's, you get to the McDonald's, you get to the mall, you get to the movie theater, you get to the little main street where you can park your car and maybe walk for 3 blocks. You get to those places, but in the city, it's about the journey. It's about bumping into the pizza place, bumping into the beautiful building, bumping into the nice little park, going into that little tiny bar, having fun. Wow, I'd never seen this building before. Let's check it out. Miss Love says, was that neoclassical? Yeah, that is neoclassical architecture that we just saw. Check out this building. This is a New York City Public Library. Wow. This is one of my favorite views of New York City. I've been to this neighborhood so long and never really noticed this particular building. I'm kind of shocked. Now that's majestic. A nice neoclassical building in the middle of a park. This is amazing. My live videos, watch any of them in any of the major cities. It is a testament to why a walkable city is a beautiful life. So many of my live videos, I am just wandering and there's so much things to see and do and admire and eat and drink and people to meet. True, like I have definitive proof. 3,000, 4,000 videos at this point from 40, 50 cities around the world. So just look at any of them and you'll find definitive proof. Joe says, how was Puerto Rico? Oh, it was lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. You can watch my photos and videos. I visited places like a Yunque, Old San Juan. So beautiful. Armchair is asking for the name of the park. Let's see. It's Seward Park Branch. Named after the Secretary of State who purchased Louisiana and a huge portion of the US for us. Sorry. Seward purchased Alaska. He was the guy who purchased Alaska, who worked with Abraham Lincoln. And a lot of people thought he was mad for spending a huge amount of money at that time for Alaska. I think it was like $20 million. Lo and behold, about 100 plus years later, Alaska ends up being one of the most fruitful places for massive amounts of oil. Joe says electricity has went out in Puerto Rico. Oh no. That sucks to hear. Oh. Pythagorean, thank you so much for the correction. It was 7.2 million? I recall 20 million. 20 million might have been the Louisiana purchase. Thank you so much for letting us know. Mika asks, are your friends okay in Greece? I think they are. My best wishes and prayers go to Maria. She's my editor, but she does not live near where the wildfires happen. But there's a Maria who tunes in on YouTube, Maria K. And I hope she's safe. And everyone, round of hearts to Maria. Hopefully she's safe. She's a hardcore viewer. Doesn't comment too often, but she's always been a very kind viewer. And I hope she's okay. I know I have a few other viewers in Greece who are located near the areas of the forest fires. I hope you're okay as well. Hey DS, nice to see you here. Claire says, love the pictures from PR. Hey, abundant blessings for you. Hey Claire, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm so glad you love my photos of PR that I posted on Facebook. On my personal Facebook. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Did I miss the burger? Says yes. Yes, that was in the beginning. I will be finding more burgers here in New York City. All right, let me give you a Greek food recommendation here at Dime Square. And then make our way to Two Bridges, the other neighborhood that's changing quickly here in New York City. Bill Scott says, just logged on. Hey Bill, nice to see you here, man. Let me know who has missed the New York City live videos. It's been a while. I think the last New York City live video I did was like a month ago. And I've done sporadically maybe 5 New York City live videos in a year. So, Jan says, I missed the burger. How was it? Amazing. So far, my number 2 fast food burger in New York. Wendy says, I have so missed them, these videos. Susie says, I guess Aguadilla will wait for next time. Yeah, Susie, my plan originally was to go to Aguadilla, but we didn't get to do that, unfortunately. Marie, nice to see you here. Hey, I love how more crowded Dime Square is getting. Catherine says, I miss your regular live videos from New York. Here's one of the most interesting tattoo parlors in New York City. It's called Daredevil. There's a tattoo museum inside, accessible to the public. Lots of tattoo history here in New York too. I love the vibe here. Look at this. I'm gonna zoom in just to show you what real street life is supposed to look like. Joe says, you got us through the pandemic. Hey Joe, man, I'm so happy. I did. I'm so glad you're going to visit Spain due to my videos, man. That is awesome to hear. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you're enjoying these videos. Ebron says, I love the ferry tours. Yeah, I've done very frequent ferry tours throughout the past few years. I love riding the ferry. So I actually came here, right here to Dime Square, like 3 years ago, early 2021, for Valentine's Day video on February 14th, 2021. And it was it was pretty empty. There was almost no life here. Of course, the pandemic was still on. Ooh, look at this. We can see what probably used to be an old synagogue. Owen says, what's the name of the street? Yes, this is Canal Street. We're at Canal and Ludlow right now. Or Canal and East Broadway. That is the intersection. Canal Street. All the way at the end. Bill says, did you see the corgi? No, I did not. So I came to this particular bakery, which has now changed names. I think it was called Mel's Bakery. And it was really good, but very different vibe. Back then, this was still a pretty empty neighborhood. But now, it's filled with life. Justine says, has the bakery closed down? I think they switched owners. I think that's what happened. So the street we were in was Canal Street between Ludlow and East Broadway. The nearest train station to here is the F train to East Broadway stop. This is called colloquially now by many of the people who are hanging out here as Dime Square, but this is still known as the neighborhood of Lower East Side / Chinatown to older New Yorkers. So it's a bit confusing, but just go to the East Broadway stop on the F train. Right here, one of the better Greek places. Ignore the Chinese lettering. They kept it for some random reason. I kind of like it, preserving some of the old signage of New York. But this restaurant is called Kiki's. K-I-K-I apostrophe S, Kiki's. Inside, it looks like you're going to one of these older Greek tavernas where they're selling fresh wine. It is amazing. Highly, highly recommend it. Great food. It's going to be way more expensive than you're used to in Greece. Well, for New York prices, it's pretty good. Highly, highly recommend it. Kiki's. K-I-K-I apostrophe S. See if I can find the menu. Here they have Greek dishes that you won't find in typical Greek American restaurants. So it is legit Greek, and it's even served the same way you find in Greece. I really loved it. But only thing is, if you've been to Greece, just be ready to spend 5 or 6 times more than you would in Greece. But that's just normal in New York. Hey, Laureen is here. Nice to see you here. Hello, Miss Love. Nice to see Miss Love over here as well. Okay. Okay, so that was Dime Square. Let me know if you want to go to our last stop, our last neighborhood to visit on this tour. It is Two Bridges. Two Bridges is not as lively as Dime Square, but it is kind of like a area of New York that most tourists would not just casually walk through. Most New Yorkers would just not go to, though I know it's going to change very quickly in the next 5 to 10 years. Dime Square is already going to become kind of a vibe similar to Greenwich Village or West Village. In 5 years, it'll look more like the West Village. To an extension, Two Bridges will look more like Dumbo, Brooklyn, because it actually is the direct opposite of Dumbo across the river. Hey, CJ! CJ with the $5 super chat says, have you ever thought of visiting the beautiful towns of Lambertville, New Jersey and New Hope, Pennsylvania? I have not heard about those towns. Now that you left a lovely super chat, I will look into them. Let me screenshot this for future reference. There we go, screenshot it. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I really do appreciate it. I will look into it. I know that New Jersey has a few gems of towns like Patterson, so I'll check them out at some point. Joe says, no, Ariel, no more. Just end this and go. Okay, Joe. All right. Guess I'm going home. Hey, here's a Buddhist temple. Spaces for rent for some reason underneath the Buddhist temple. We have the other Wendy tuning in. We got multiple Wendy's here. Keep walking anywhere, says Wendy. Lori says, I just sent you a PayPal. Really enjoyed your PR videos. Love the hike in the clouds. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that deeply, Laureen. The hike in the clouds was fabulous. Fabulous. I want to do it again. I loved it. So thank you so much for the kind words. And thank you so much for the PayPal, Laureen. Laureen, sending a PayPal. Awesome, awesome, Laureen. I appreciate that. It was such a pleasure meeting Laureen a few months ago. I haven't posted the photo, but now it's a good reminder to post it once again. All right, so Bob has missed me. He invited all of his friends. They were like, we gotta come out for the live stream in droves. And he brought, we got the copper colored pigeons. Penny and Cooper, the copper colored pigeons. We got Frank over here, Frank, the burly pigeon. We even have Ziomara down there, that white pigeon with gray streaks. And we got Bob with all of his bobettes. The entire party is here. All right, guys, come along. We're going to Two Bridges. Come. This way, guys, this way. Miss Lob says it's the Bob Nation. Indeed. Where's Mike, says Julie. Mike is, we have Marcel the Mouse. We don't have a Mike yet in the Urbanist Tunes. We have Marcel the Mouse. We have Derek the Duck. I forgot his wife's name. What was Derek's wife's name? We have Earl the Squirrel, Susan the Sparrow, Agent Starling, and Sergeant Starling as well. Let me know. Ernesto, the black squirrel from Mexico. We have a few others. Let me know if you remember the other Urbanist tunes. Daniel and Diaz are asking about Coffee documentary, September 1st or the 2nd. Stay tuned for more details. That will be the premiere of the documentary. Oh, look at this street art. I like this. Hey, Lorraine says, I saw Earl the Squirrel's family in Central Park. Earl the Squirrel comes from a long lineage of Irish royalty, of House Shenanigan. Earl the Squirrel was actually supposed to become a lord, Lord Earl the Squirrel of House Shenanigan, but he left his humble life in Ireland. He left his royal life in Ireland in order to live a humble existence here in New York, because he did not want to go through any of that royal fuss, and he wanted to just live his life as a normal squirrel. Hey, we got a natural wine shop. Sicer. Natural wine shop. Ooh, I like that. Wow, a lot of cool wineries here. Wow, we're underneath the Manhattan Bridge right now, and I rarely walk through this street. It's amusing seeing one of these buildings right underneath the Manhattan Bridge. Donna, thank you so much, Miss Lob. It was Donna and Derek, the Ducks. Yes. Let me know, would you live right here? You know, there's very few alleyways in New York, and this is one of them. Wow. Imagine there, like hearing the rumble of the subway and the cars all day and night. Susie says, you write a children's book with all those characters. I want to. I have to do it. Wendy says, is it safe? Depends on what time. We're entering two bridges because there's the Manhattan Bridge and there's the Brooklyn Bridge. Whoa, there's a place here called Bon, a Bon Mi place. Ooh. Wow, this has changed. What? Okay, I was coming here thinking I would see 2 or 3 new cafes slash restaurants amidst the older Chinese restaurants. But no, this has changed a lot. Now we have very fancy places. Wow. Wow. Hey, a little wine bar. Ah. This is nice. Natural wine bar, Cellar 36. Ooh, happy hour. Wow. Justine says go in. It's always a bit tough to go into these places, but let me see if I can show it from the outside. It's nice. Pretty simple seating. Little bar set up. Justine says I want to see inside. It's always tough to go inside because it's a very awkward to walk into a crowded restaurant with the camera. Bon by Laurent. Apparently this is a fancy Vietnamese place. I wonder what they're selling. Let's see. Like a cafe. Oh, it is a cafe. A chiffon cake. Padan coconut with coconut mousse, $13 a slice. What's all with all these bars selling natural wines? Problem is here in America, in California, as far as I know, I'm not too deep into the wine world, but as far as I know, we add a lot of processing to our wine with American wines. California, Long Island, other nearby wine regions. And that's why here in America, we make a big emphasis on organic wine, which is wine made with minimal processing and lesser ingredients. Some wines are made with a huge amount of ingredients. You think it's just fermented grapes, but it's sometimes way more. I heard it was like dozens of ingredients in some wines. So that's why there's bigger emphasis of organic wine here in America than you would see in France or in Italy or in Germany, where wines just tend to be just better made. But Our organic labeling here is very strict, to the point that many French wines, no matter how high the quality is according to the critics, according to the sommeliers, are still not labeled as organic. So that term might be good for American wines, but it's not going to be so useful for European wines. And then very high sugar. Yeah, Justine, yeah, some wines are very high in sugar, high in tannins, gives a headache. So here in America, if I'm gonna find a wine, I'd rather go to an organic wine place. As opposed to in Europe, I just don't really care. I would try any wine. And look at this place, Art Cafe. Oh, wow. That's crazy. And here we have one of the older buildings. We see some of these buildings are around 1870s, 1860s. But don't quote me on that. I'm not too deep in the wine world. But that's so far what I've learned. It might not be so accurate. Here's the big condo building that blocks the view of the Manhattan Bridge. Wow, this has changed. Way more interesting stuff here. And now I would so here in this neighborhood you have to be a bit more discerning. You go like just one block down, it won't be the best neighborhood. So I would recommend making this the extent of your walks in the Two Bridges area. Let's go back. So what streets are we on? Let me see. We are on Market Street, Market and Madison Street. Market and Madison Street. That is the intersection. Nelson says the brighter the produce, the more bugs it attracts. Therefore, the more pesticides it has if not organic. Ah, fascinating. So Two Bridges, mostly concentrated around here. Let's see if there's anything further down. Joe says this area used to be considered a slum and now rents are exceeding $3,000. Yes. Yes, it is. Times have changed. Look at the condos being built right here, high-end condos. This will be transforming fairly quickly. Now, Chinatowns have always been notoriously hard to gentrify because unlike other communities, the Chinese have been very diligent in buying up their property in major cities around the world. So many Chinatowns, may be in New York, San Francisco, London, Boston, or whatnot, or Manchester, they own a lot of their property, and hence that's why they stay Chinese sometimes for 100, 150 years. That is changing. A lot of Chinese are starting to sell because the prices are becoming extremely expensive. And it's a very good deal for the Chinese who own these places. So a building like this might sell for a few million or more. And hence, why are you gonna stick around with it when the neighborhood's already kind of dying out, at least from the Chinese American perspective? So that's why these Chinatowns are now just starting to gentrify. It's a bit controversial because there are Chinese Americans that still want to stay in these neighborhoods and they feel like they're being priced out, which is indeed the case. But also some Chinese Americans are making a killing from selling these buildings. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Something similar is happening in Flushing, Chinatown, except It's not, except in Flushing Chinatown, it's Chinese coming from China buying up the property. So very, very fascinating shifts are happening right now in New York City's neighborhoods. Sun setting rays on your face, says Janice. Yes, it is. Lorraine says, I've never been to New York City Chinatown. Need some dim sum. Yeah. Lorraine, let us know. Is there a Chinatown in Honolulu? In Oahu? I bet there is, but I'm not sure how big it is. So what year you think you're going to put Chinese as a second language in schools, says ME7? ME7 is, it's a matter of time, you know. Could happen. All right, let's make our way further down. I think we pretty much reached the extent of Two Bridges, at least the Pleasant area. Two Bridges still has a lot of these public housing. Wendy says, am I crushing water? I am indeed. I got water here in my bag with books. Books and water. That's all you need in life. Ooh, look at this building. Wow. So yeah, this is the area, Two Bridges, that might not be the best to walk around. So the verdict on Two Bridges, since we mostly walked it, there's not much. There's only like 5 restaurants or so. The good thing is, if you're going this deep into Manhattan, these restaurants are probably a bit cheaper than going to the East Village, or definitely the West Village. So there might be good alternatives to find that good organic wine. Lorraine says, yes, we do have a Chinatown in Honolulu. Good food there. Yeah. All right, let's check out the historic houses here. Joshua says, I so want to go urban hiking. I dig how excited you get. Hey man, yeah. Don't go, Ariel, says Wendy. I'm starving. Got a little bit left. I'm going to show you these historic homes. I'm going to stick around for about 10 more minutes. If you have any last questions, feel free to ask me. Because I'm about to show you some really historic architecture here in Two Bridges. Look at this. These are amongst the oldest homes you'll see in Manhattan. And this was the home of Alfred E. Smith, the man who ended up organizing the building of the Empire State Building, the man who trained Robert Moses, who became one of the most influential, powerful, and also hated men in New York City history. This man, also the first Catholic senator, if I'm correct, and definitely the first Catholic governor, if I'm correct. But this man is very influential, and this is where he lived. And this is Federalist style homes. Very, very old. I forgot exactly how old they are. I do have a live video a long time ago about their history. They should be around 1870s or so. Maybe a little bit after that, but they're fairly old. Definitely 120 plus years old. And you can see this is St. James Convent, the St. James Rectory. Miss Lob says, why hated? Robert Moses ended up building a sophisticated network of highways throughout New York City. Most of the highways you see in modern day New York, the BQE, the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, the LIE, the Long Island Expressway, the Grand Central Parkway, and many of the bridges, like the Throgs Neck, the Verrazano, are all thanks to Robert Moses. The reason he's hated amongst many New Yorkers was because he ended up displacing thousands upon thousands. I think the number definitely exceeds hundreds of thousands of people in New York, thriving neighborhoods. Not only poor neighborhoods, which he deemed as blight in order to get federal money, but also thriving middle-class neighborhoods were demolished basically overnight, displacing businesses that were owned by families for generations. And also, he had a huge disdain for public transportation, and he limited its construction and its funding for nearly half a century in New York. And his policies were carried out through his predecessors. So if you are a lover of walkable cities, Robert Moses is a controversial figure. Hey, Joe with the $5 super chat. Hey, Joe, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. And now we're back to Chinatown. This is kind of cool. We've done a full circle. So much a full circle. Just like dear Confucius, right over here. Or this is not Confucius. This is another Chinese guy. Where's your dream location if you were to buy property in New York? Dream location to buy property in New York: Soho, West Village. A few other places. Soho and West Village for sure. Guys, it's a full circle moment. We have arrived back to Chinatown. This is Lin Zizhu, the pioneer in the war against drugs. This man was the man who dared to defy the British, who were funneling tons of opium back into the country of China, and he stood up against them. Very famous man in early 1800s. And here is in the memory of the Americans of Chinese ancestry who lost their lives in defense of freedom and democracy. Countless cultures of American citizens fought in the wars. The World War I, World War II, even the Civil War. Amongst them are many Chinese Americans. And among the more vibrant streets for food is here East Broadway. So you can take East Broadway or go all the way down to Dime Square from Chinatown here. And if you're coming from Wall Street, it is walkable. Well, if you enjoy walking, it'll be a 30-minute walk away at this point to downtown Manhattan. But it is a lovely walk. Highly recommend it. That is all for today. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. This was a walk from Chinatown back to Chinatown. Let me know if you have more burger recommendations on finding the best burgers, fast food in New York City. So far I have 2 of them. Let me know if you want to know more. And let me know if you want to see any other specific places of New York City. And of course, I'll be back traveling in September again. So you'll be seeing more places abroad. Everyone keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Have a great day. Bye-bye.